before Christmas by implying that all inanimate objects potentially have a life, such as the door knocker that turns into the face of Marley, Scrooge's dead partner. At the centre of the story there is also this magnetic character, Scrooge. Scrooge represents unfeeling authority. Elsewhere in Dickens it is variously symbolised as the state, the law, or the parish workhouse. And how this fixed position cuts him off and separates him from feeling personal sympathy. But Dickens makes Scrooge both despicable and lovable at the same time. We feel there is a better man beneath the old curmudgeon, that he was not born avaricious, and so his nature can therefore perhaps be reversed. The Christmas ghosts show him his past, once full of prospects, but destroyed by his love of money. The present, how the world, despite his cynical view of the season, bar humbug, abounds in simple affection, such as the Cratchit family show to each other. And his future, a mean death, despised by all who knew him. Scrooge is humbled, but in the true tradition of a fairy tale, where anything can happen, he is saved to mend his ways and bring joy, not misery, to the world about him. Everything coming right just in time for Christmas Day is one of the most satisfying aspects of this story, whose regenerative power we feel every time we read it. Though we may not all identify with Scrooge, we are able to examine his character in the light of our own. The selfish can be less so, the generous more so. The good-natured extend their influence further, and so on. It is a myth for all time. Dickens's friend Thackeray summed up its effect for his own time. It seems to me a national benefit, and to every man or woman who reads it, a personal kindness. Scrooge and his nephew.
Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting-house. It was cold, bleak, biting weather, foggy withal, and he could hear the people in the court outside go wheezing up and down, beating their hands upon their breasts and stamping their feet upon the pavement stones to warm them. The city clocks had only just gone 3, but it was quite dark already. It had not been light all day, and candles were flaring in the windows of the neighbouring offices like ruddy smears upon the palpable brown air. The fog came pouring in at every chink and keyhole, and was so dense without that although the court was of the narrowest, the houses opposite were mere phantoms. To see the dingy cloud come drooping down, obscuring everything, one might have thought that nature lived hard by and was brewing on a large scale. The door of Scrooge's counting-house was open, that he might keep his eye upon his clerk, who in a dismal little cell beyond, a sort of tank, was copying letters. Scrooge had a very small fire, but the clerk's fire was so very much smaller that it looked like one coal. But he couldn't replenish it, for Scrooge kept the coal box in his own room, and so surely as the clerk came in with the shovel, the master predicted that it would be necessary for them to part. Wherefore the clerk put on his white comforter and tried to warm himself at the candle, in which effort, not being a man of a strong imagination, he failed. "A Merry Christmas, Uncle! God save you!" cried a cheerful voice. It was the voice of Scrooge's nephew, who came upon him so quickly that this was the first intimation he had of his approach. "Bah!" said Scrooge. "Humbug!" He had so heated himself with rapid walking in the fog and frost, this nephew of Scrooge's, that he was all in a glow. His face was ruddy and handsome, his eyes sparkled, and his breath smoked again. "Christmas a humbug, Uncle?" said Scrooge's nephew. "You don't mean that, I'm sure." "I do," said Scrooge. "Merry Christmas! What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough." "Come, then," returned the nephew gaily. "What right have you to be dismal? What reason have you to be morose? You're rich enough." Scrooge, having no better answer ready on the spur of the moment, said, "Bah!" again, and followed it up with, "Humbug!" "Don't be cross, Uncle," said the nephew. "What else can I be?" returned the uncle. "When I live in such a